Okay, so imagine this. You have been studying English for years. You know thousands of words. Your grammar actually pretty solid. And then you sit down to watch an American TV show, no subtitles, and nothing. It all sounds like one long, blurred stream of noise.
Oh, that experience is so real. And you know what? You are absolutely not alone if that sounds familiar. But here's the thing. The reason this happens, it has almost nothing to do with your vocabulary.
Almost nothing. Welcome to the Westbrook English channel. We are so glad you are here with us today. Our deep dive mission today is to uncover the real reason native speakers are so hard to understand. And once you know this, everything changes.
So here is what most English learners don't know. When you study English from a textbook, you are learning English in a kind of frozen form. Every word is perfectly pronounced. Every sentence is clearly separated, neat, tidy.
It's a bit like reading a beautifully typeset restaurant menu. Every dish is labeled, spaced out, easy to read. But then you walk into a real kitchen while service is happening, and the chef is calling out orders at lightning speed, abbreviating everything, dropping syllables left and right.
That is such a perfect analogy, and it's exactly the problem. Native speakers don't speak in isolated, perfectly separated words. They speak in connected streams of sound. And your brain, even if it knows every word individually, has never been trained to hear them in that flowing, natural form.
Which brings us to the 3 hidden patterns that make native speakers sound like a blur. And I promise you, your textbook almost certainly never taught you any of these.
Pattern number 1 is called linking, and this is the big one. Okay, so let's role play this for our listeners, Rachel. Say this phrase slowly. Pick it up.
Pick it up.
Perfect. Now say it how a native speaker actually says it in conversation.
Pick it up. One word, almost completely blended.
Exactly. And here is why this matters. When you learned pick it up as 3 separate words, your brain stored them as 3 separate sounds. So when they arrive as one fluid blur, your brain simply doesn't recognize them. There's a mismatch.
But wait, it gets even trickier, because it's not just words connecting. Sometimes the sounds actually change at the connection point. So digi becomes didja. Want to becomes wanna. Going to becomes gonna.
These are called reductions, and they are absolutely everywhere in natural English. Here's the key insight. Native speakers are not being sloppy or lazy. This is genuinely just how the language flows at natural speed. It is the rhythm of English.
Okay, pattern number 2, and this one is a real game changer. English is what linguists call a stress-timed language, which means
that in any English sentence, some words are strong and clear. They carry the meaning. And other words are weak and compressed. They almost disappear entirely.
So in the sentence, I want to go to the store, which words do you actually hear clearly?
Want, go, store, the words I, to they. They get compressed to almost nothing. A native speaker says, I want to go to the store.
And if your brain has been trained to listen for every single word equally, you are going to miss half the sentence. Your ears are overloaded, working overtime trying to catch sounds that the native speaker has essentially swallowed.
How so? Think of it like music. When you listen to a song, you naturally focus on the melody, not every single instrument at equal volume. English rhythm works the same way. Stress falls on the melody words. The filler words fade into the background.
So we've uncovered the problem linking reductions in stress rhythm. Now, here is the most important question. How do you actually train your ears to hear this?
And this is where it gets practical. The answer is something we call active chunking listening, and it is very different from regular listening practice.
Right. Most learners do what I call passive listening. They put on an English podcast or video, catch a bit of it, and feel good. But their brain is not actually rewiring.
Active chunking is different. Here's how it works. You take a short clip, maybe 30 seconds of natural, real English. You listen once with absolutely no subtitles. Then you write down everything you heard, even if it's incomplete. And then, this is the key step. You listen again, specifically hunting for the linking and the reductions.
You are essentially giving your brain a new map. You're teaching it. Okay, wanna means want to. Gonna means going to. Watcha means what are you? Over time, we're talking weeks, not years. Your brain begins processing these patterns automatically.
It's like learning to drive. The very first time you sat in a car, every single thing required your full conscious attention, right? Mirrors, clutch, pedals, steering, but after a while, your hands and feet just know what to do. That's exactly what we want for your listening.
So let's bring this all together. If native speakers sound like a blur to you, it is almost certainly not because your vocabulary is weak. It is because you've been trained on a frozen, textbook version of English that no native speaker actually uses in real conversation.
The three things to focus on: linking, reductions, and stress rhythm. Start with just 10 minutes a day of active chunking. Any natural English audio works: a YouTube video, a podcast, a clip from a show.
And here is the exciting part. Once your ears are trained, native speakers don't just become easier to understand. English starts to feel like music. The rhythm becomes familiar. The sounds just click.
We are so proud of you for showing up today and pushing through the challenges of learning this language. It is not easy work, but it is absolutely worth it.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive. If this helped you today, please subscribe to the Westbook English channel, leave us a comment below telling us which pattern surprised you the most, and we'll catch you on the next deep dive.
Keep exploring. See you next time.